Thanks for clicking on my channel. This is my first official YouTube video. I think I'm going to call it my first official YouTube video. And if you don't know me, I'm Ashley. I've traveled for over the last 10 years. I've lived out of 2 different RVs. I did a cross-country road trip during the pandemic, and I have traveled to over 21 countries now. I have lived in 4. So I am currently filming this from Thailand, and I'm finally here to just share the things that I know. I know what it feels like to want to go and not really understand how. I also know what it feels like to go somewhere and realize that it was a massive mistake. I will be uploading a series of videos that share my research methods, experiences, and the steps that I take when deciding on a new country and making the move abroad. For the first video, I did want to talk about the first 4 things that I look at when I'm considering moving abroad. Accessibility to other countries. Yes, that's actually why I stayed in Europe for so long. I lived in Romania, Hungary, and Poland. And the reason I was able to live in those 3 different countries is because they were literally right on top of each other. So a big one for me is accessibility. I want to be able to travel to other countries on the weekends. It's a big reason I chose Thailand. Thailand is like the center hub of Asia, and I wanted to be able to see China, or I know Vietnam is right next door, so I can probably go to Vietnam on a Friday and come back on a Monday and not feel like I've lost any rest. Now, this is for my people with animals. As most of you know, I've traveled with my 2 dogs everywhere. One of them sadly passed in 2024, but I'm left with Trixie, who is an 11-year-old Dachshund, which is a Dachshund Lab mix, and she flies in cabin with me. But when I'm looking for countries, I want to know the country that's easiest to get her into, because some of these countries have like these crazy quarantine requirements and stuff. So I'm looking up how to get the dog requirements or cat requirements if you're a cat owner to get into the country. And that can make or break the situation, because there's a country that I really wanted to go to before Thailand, and Trixie would have had to quarantine, and I wasn't really too comfortable with that because it was our first time in Asia together. I didn't want to take that risk. So for people who are traveling with pets, make sure that the country is at least somewhat pet friendly. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you want to do it, you're going to get it done. So a lot of it is just paperwork, going online, looking up the regulations, going on forums, seeing people's experiences. You will learn so much by just reading what other people have gone through. Even if they went through it 7 years ago, it's still something that you can keep in the back of your mind to know, like, okay, I didn't even know that was possible. When I first got to Thailand, I was aware, just like every country, you're gonna have to declare your pet, but I didn't know that she would have to pay a couple fees, and that's fine because there was ATMs, but it was still a shock to me. Had I not been able to, pay those fees, what would have happened? So it's just something that could be avoided if you just look at people's experiences. Because if you go on Facebook, there's tons of people who will tell you, you go to the office right behind the carousel, you go here, you go there, and that's it. You should be doing so much research that your brain is tired. And that's why I think that a lot of people get stuck, and I have been there, right, where you get stuck. But it's okay. It's okay. When you get information overload, my piece of advice is sleep on it. Dedicate a day to just doing research. And when I mean doing research, I mean taking notes, doing research. Your plans are going to change and you can adjust them. There is nothing wrong with adjusting your plans to reach your goal. Sometimes you have to take 4 steps back, right? And it's okay. And I feel like that's why a lot of people get stuck and they give up. Don't give up because it's hard work. It's not really as hard as you think it is. The hardest part is starting. And once you're doing research, the momentum, you get the momentum's going. Visas. Oof. Visas. Visas will also make or break the experience for me. If I'm going to waste my time traveling to a country knowing that I'm interested in living there, I don't want to entertain any ideas until I know what I have to do to stay there legally. Now, if I want to just go travel to travel, then that's fine. Go travel to travel, right? If I know that it's on my list to want to live there, why would I go stay there a month, 2 months, knowing that I can't live there at the end of it all? That is a country that I am going to save for my bucket list. Right now, we are focused on relocating. We have made a list of all the countries that we are interested in, and I'm going to start narrowing them down. And if visa is too complicated in that country and it can only give me a month, I'm sorry, I'll save it for another time. I want to make sure that I can qualify for either a student visa, work visa, digital note. What kind of visas do they have? And on one of the upcoming videos, I will make sure to speak all about visas. Cost of living. Now, there is obviously many countries that may be cheaper to live in than your country. However, I think that a lot of people underestimate how much they actually need to live. I know that sounds like so crazy. So it's easy to see online like, oh, you can live on $2,000 a month here. And that could be true. But are you living or are you just surviving? That is the basic cost of living. So when you see those influencers and you see those, you see that those little captions on articles, on news articles on Google that make these countries glamorous, that's amazing. I'm not saying that you can't live like that, right? But depending on your lifestyle, that $2,000 can easily double, right? If you're a person that prioritizes self-care, if you're a person that prioritizes activity, if you're a person that prioritizes socializing and going out, those are things that are usually not included in that budget. And if they are, it's very minimal. Now, granted, I'm not saying that, you're going to come out here and you're going to spend. All I am saying is when you are considering cost of living, if you have habits, you need to take those into consideration. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. When I first started traveling, it was so easy for me to see those, captions and fall in love. But like, if I was gonna go off the budget that ChatGPT gave me or I saw online, I would have been screwed. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own methods to how they spend their money and how they save. Thailand is known for cheap street food, but who would have known that Ashley would have got tired of the street food? So now I'm back almost on a Western budget with eating, because yeah, Thailand food is great. It tastes so good, but you're going to want your burger and your fries. So again, it's easy to see how that cost of living can drag you in. But if you're coming out here alone, you can have more flexibility. But if you're coming with a family, there's so many things that you need to account for. You're going to want to do activities. You're going to want to go to museums. You're going to want to see things. That is what traveling is all about, right? So keep that in mind when you are budgeting. And it doesn't have to be something you do every month, but it's something to think about, right? Crime. Yes, I feed into the statistics. Now, the statistics are not always accurate, but they do give you a general idea of what kind of crime is prevalent in that country. And I do want to add that it's still good to, I'm a Reddit freak, but it's still good to go online and see the news. Obviously, the news is going to always show the worst, but that can also work to your advantage because you've never been to this place. Well, maybe you have been, but you've never lived in this place. So it's always good to see the worst case scenario when it comes to that, especially if you're a female traveling solo. I think, and again, we're talking about personal experiences, I think it's always good to go off the worst case scenario when it comes to crime. You can't really just pay attention to the statistics because the statistics are never going to be 100% accurate. You can get a general idea, but there's always that, let me see people's experiences. And that's when you go on the forums. That's when you go on Facebook groups. That's when you go on Reddit forums. That's when you go on Quora forums. That's when you start doing research on what the media has reported in the last 30 days or the last 60 days. There is crime everywhere. there is crime everywhere. And I don't think that anywhere in this world, again, this is just a personal opinion, I don't think anywhere in this world is 100% safe. And I don't think that the media reports everything that's going on anywhere in the world. So yes, Google, Reddit, Facebook groups, it helps. It helps give you an idea. It helps open your mind to, maybe you thought a country wasn't safe, and come to find out everybody that you're, coming across online is having great experiences. It just helps to really dive into that research. And it's more than just a few articles at the top. Go through those pages on Google. At the bottom, there's 1, 2, go all the way to 10. Then the next day, go on Reddit and go through those forums. I had a very good experience living in Romania. But before I moved there, so many people had so much to say about the way I was going to be treated as a woman over there. I didn't experience anything that I was warned about. But I will tell you this. I could understand where those stereotypes came from. And being over there, I understood that the culture was different from the American culture. And I got to understand that very quick. But I never felt threatened or scared for my life. Find 100 ways to see the safety rating in a country. So, thanks for watching this video. Like I said, this is a series, and this is just the first things I do when I am considering a country. These were the 4 things that I research, and I will break each and every single one of them down as I upload videos to this channel. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe.